My name is Emily Jones. I'm from Anderson, Missouri. The last couple of months, I got to speak in front of the Republican caucus, and it was an eye-opener. I really absolutely loved it, and I know for sure that's what I want to do. I want to be in politics.
What'd you tell them?
I gave a speech actually on the my platform is and the characteristics I think that a leader should have for our country.
They listen to you okay?
They're actually pretty great listeners.
There we go, see? You're starting. Okay, anyway, your question, I'm sorry.
And like
I may bring you into all the caucuses next year. If you can have some effect, I'll bring you into all of them. Fire them all up,
You call me, let me know,
Yeah.
we'll set it up. My question is, I really enjoyed it. It was an eye-opener. That's for sure what I want to do. But what advice do you have for us that want to start politics? That want to start an internship and go?
Yeah. No, I think a couple of things. But I'll tell you a story real quick. I was my last year of undergraduate school when I was taking fencing. I went down to they had this class at the University of Missouri that allowed you to get 3 hours credit if you worked as an intern in the Capitol for a senator or a representative. And so I knew the senator from my district, and so I applied for the class, and part of that you had to go down and get interviewed by him. So I went down, I got interviewed, and he said, okay, Jay, I know you, and I know your family. Why don't you meet me in my district office at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I'll do the final interview. Now that's a long drive. So it was a 2.5-hour drive, 3-hour drive from Columbia. So I got up really, really early and drove down there. I was there before 8 o'clock and had the interview with the senator. And he said, well, I've been thinking about this. We've got research staff. I don't think I really need you. Okay, I drove all the way down here. I was an honor student in political science. I was free. I was going to work for him and help, and he didn't want me. So, 8 years later, I got elected to that job. So, you don't have to. If you want to run, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, so my advice is 3 things. First of all, get an education. Get a very good education. Second of all, make sure that you have a way to take care of yourself financially. Get your degree, get a job, get a career started, so that you're not just reliant on the public service part of what it is. And number 2 is continue to serve in all sorts of capacities and stay involved. And the third part is, if you run for something, have a reason. Have something you want to do. Be inspired. When you run for something, run to do something. Don't just run to hold a position. I was taught that at a very early age. Once again, I'm telling all these stories about me. I'm sorry about that, but it's just you caught me at the end of the day today. I've been all in Kansas City, Joplin, all over the place. People ask me how I got started in politics. Pretty simple. I was about 12 years old. My dad was the mayor of DeSoto. My mom was on the school board, ended up being president of the school board. So we'd sit down to dinner, and the phone would ring. And the school board would look at the mayor, they'd point their finger at me and say, hey, you go answer it. So I started in politics and constituent service, answering the phone. But I would hear these complaints from people. And then I would come back to the table, and I would argue their case, whether it was somebody that wanted the high school basketball coach fired because they weren't getting to play enough, or somebody's sidewalk was cracked, or the sewer was backed up, or whatever. And I saw my mom and dad try to deal with those problems, and they didn't ask me whether the person that called was a Democrat or a Republican, or whether they'd supported them or not. So my key on this is be prepared to serve everybody. The hyper-partisanship we're seeing right now is not the way for America to move forward. I'm not saying give up any of your values. I'm not telling you at all to give up your values. But you got to work with people. It's not just about being a Democrat or being a Republican or being a Green Party or being independent or whatever. It's about figuring out ways you can get people to work together. And then that last part, doing something that really matters. I could go through countless examples of things I've been involved in over the years that really, really matter. Not so much to me, but they've had a solid effect. So when you run to do something, but run to make things better. And when the ideas that you have prevent prevent you from not running. In other words, if you want to do it so bad you're willing to go through the indignity of running for public office in America in the 21st century, then go do it. But and then run hard. You know, do everything you can. Don't leave anything in the back. Don't go halfway when you go. You know, because if you win, it's great. And if you don't win, you don't want to look back 20 years from now and say, I wish I would have tried a little harder. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what advice would you have to young people who want to start a business before they finish college?
That's a really good question. I'll tell you one thing, for those of you who haven't decided on your school yet, UCM here has one of the best programs as far as getting kids involved. President Ambrose is here. Our community colleges are too. What you need to do is first of all work. Okay, people that work begin to understand the basic concepts of money coming in, money going out. So I think before you get done with school, having some sort of jobs in the summer. And then number two, if you're going to start a business, you got to have something that you're excited in. If you're going to be involved in the ownership world, it's not just making money; it's adding value. So I would look to areas where you have strength and where you have passion, and understand also that about 95% of all the businesses that start in this country fail in the first few years. You're not going to necessarily succeed on the front end unless you're willing to take the risks to succeed. Though there's no way you're going to succeed. So. Get your education, work for somebody, follow your passion, and be willing to take some risks. Yes?
Hi, my name is Foster Stahl from Cuba, Missouri, and I was just wondering, who would you consider like your inspiration?
You know, I've always been a pretty big, strong guy, tall guy, and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, the reason I mention that is, I mean, if you're, nobody. It's not like anybody ever bullies a guy that's like 6'4", 225. You know what I mean? A football player and all that sort of stuff. So my inspirations have been people, as I said before earlier, people who have been dealt with challenges. I mean, when I see people that have things happen to them, are born with challenges, or have challenges happen to them, and they shoulder through. I've got countless examples of that in my life, but the people that inspire me are the people that have not had the luck that I have, that don't have the health that I've had, and have limitations, and have great attitude. And I've always felt like that they are inspiring to me. I mean, I could go back and give you specific names of specific people, but boy, oh boy, it just makes you go. As far as individuals that do. I'm from Jefferson County. Bill Bradley was a basketball player at Crystal City when they used to be able to beat DeSoto, but they don't do that anymore. And ended up being obviously a Rhodes Scholar, NBA player, top 50 players in the history of basketball, and played for the Knicks and whatnot. Also United States Senator. Always had a high level of respect for him. Very, very bright guy. Very intellectually honest. So as far as an individual. That fellow out there that I watched, he was a number of years older than me, but you could see somebody go through the challenges of competing at a world level, both academically as well as athletically, and see somebody from my home county succeed like that was always inspirational to me. But inside me, the thing that gets me burning the most is people that need your help. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kat, and I'm from Cuba, Missouri. First, I'd just like to say thank you for coming to see us at Girls State. And when we hear about politicians, a lot of times we hear about people getting sucked into the fact of just getting elected and not necessarily doing what the people want. What advice would you have for someone to not get to where all they're trying to do is get votes instead of actually doing what the people want them to do?
Well, I think that it's a great question, and because especially with all the money, I mean, I could go through the long political science speech about how we need to have campaign contribution limits, and without limits, you get too much money involved and all that sort of stuff. But I think that what I said over here is really important. Run for a job. If you're running, run for a reason. Have it mean something. And if you become cynical, walk away. if you believe that the work you're not doing is not, if the work you're doing is not important, then don't do it. I spoke about folks with developmental disabilities. We've taken 2,500 people off the list through our partnership with Hope in the state of Missouri, meaning folks that have gotten beyond high school age with developmental disabilities. Instead of wasting away, they now get services in the state of Missouri, individualized services to allow them to live independently. We've been able to do that in 3.5 years since I've been governor. So my point is, do things that are really important, and then have really good people around you, and always be honest. I mean, so many people get involved in this world of politics, and they think that the words yes and no are not part of the vocabulary. I mean, people can deal with yeses and nos, and so tell people the truth. I mean, and and so, I mean, I don't mean to sit here and preach at you in any way, shape, or form, but and enjoy it. What's the old line? People follow people who know where they're going and appear to be having a good time doing it. So, I mean, be a leader and stay on. So the only advice I can have is if you find yourself veering off the path, get the heck out of public service, because you'll end up either not doing a good job or doing something so dangerous that you get in trouble. Let me conclude here, because I know everybody's got stuff to do. First of all, I want to thank Senator Stover for his work and his comment tonight, and for his many years of service in our legislature. I tremendously appreciate leaders like that. But be challenged, okay? Everybody here, I got the question over here about what do we do in our senior year of high school? Work really hard. Take really hard classes. Get challenged, okay? I mean, if we're going to win the future, if we're going to win the world, it's going to be because we're willing to compete with anybody. Now, I'm going to finish with a little story about some folks. Anybody here from West Plains, Missouri? There we go. Okay. Now, there's an international company that's got a facility in your town called Invences, okay? It's an international company that makes this part that goes in the gas line that comes into appliances that causes, if that gas line gets disrupted, them to shut off so that they won't catch on fire and blow up. Has anybody here had a refrigerator blow up on you? No, see, they work. So I get wind of the fact that Invences has got their international company, but they've got a couple of factories they're trying to turn into one. And the two factories they're looking at is one in Mexicali, Mexico, and the other one in West Plains, Missouri. So we decided to have ourselves a little competition. 90 days. We put 5 of our workers from West Plains, Missouri against 10 workers from Mexico in a 90-day competition to see who could be most productive. And we cheated a little bit because we let ours go to Ozark Technical College to get some training and some safety training, the other things that we do here in Missouri. But after 90 days, our folks hit 100% of their targets. Not a single injury, met every one of their production targets. Folks south of the border, 60%. Because of that, that company is closing its factory in Mexico, investing $16.7 million down in West Plains, Missouri, and bringing 200 jobs from Mexico to our state. It wasn't because I wrote the company a big check. It wasn't because I got some sort of stunning personality. It was because Missourians were ready to compete. It's because when those workers knew that if they worked hard, guess what? When Sunday came, instead of the plate at church passing their neighbors by because they weren't working, that they'd be able to put something in it because they could tell them, look, you can come down and apply, and you can help us build the best parts in the world right here in West Plains, Missouri, right here in the Show Me State. So the point to you all is, it's a big world. To win the future, we got to compete against the whole world. But if there is no, I'm telling you, 3.5 years in this job, I got something nobody else in the world has got. I got the people in Missouri. We're ready to get up early. People in Missouri get up early, they stay late, they have good values, they work hard, they deliver value each and every day. Help us lead the future. Thank you, God bless.